16 isn't that impressive for best. That's a little below his standards, but still pretty good that best made it out. So good to see that happening. But yeah, he's a player that is very characteristic of using arbiters a lot.
Right.
So that's something he likes to do. And it looks like Pure, though, actually has a slow shuttle coming. I guess it just spotted that command center. I don't know what he has in there. Maybe some DTs, actually. Yeah, it looks like DT coming out in the comeback, and he needs to stop that turret from getting up. He does stop the SCV building it, and yep, the turret gets canceled. So this could actually do a decent amount of disruption. There is a turret there, though, that's covering that area. Leta does not have a scanner. So Pure has little free reign over this gas, at least, but it sounded like that second DT just went down because it got too close. Almost losing the shuttle there, but just Pure taking on that gas is definitely something that's not going to be very good for Leta.
Yeah, absolutely. A very, very nice little drop attack there. And, you know, we've seen from last game that Pure does know how to micro. And he does know how to harass. So, again, you know, and again, I'm treating Pure unintentionally as if he were a newer player like Hyuk. Of course, Pure's been around some time, and he is a good player. Personally, I've not seen him very often, so that's just the reason I say that. So apologize if there are Pure fans watching this. I'm not trying to make him seem like a lesser player than he is. He's definitely shown himself to be pretty strong so far here. Interestingly enough, not having the comsats is actually a pretty big mistake here, and it looks like now it is up. And that the Dark Templar was taken out, but not before, you know, two of them could do a lot of damage. Ramping up here, a lot of gateways here coming out. So Pure is going to ramp up 2 starports as well. So Steve, you were right about, of course, the early arbiters, but he's going full-on early arbiters. He's not just going to make one. So that's actually really important as well. And we do see the third expansion has been scouted as going up here and mining out that mineral there, which he's going to lose the SCV. That, of course, just to provide easier access to probably to be able to transfer probes and units up to that top base to defend it there. But good play so far from Pure. Despite the kind of nerve-wracking opening there, I think he's doing a really good job ramping up. Good saturation. Has had the third base up quite a bit longer than Leta's going to have here. So Pure is looking very impressive. As you mentioned, Steve, though, this is a map that you can certainly turtle better on. And so at this point, if you were going to give an advantage map-wise, it probably would be for the Terran. So if Leta wants to do that, he can turtle up. He is going to get the science vessels coming out right now. It looks like I don't think he's building anything right now, so he's probably going to wait and get the science vessels up. So, you know, right now it's pretty standard. Right now we're going to see a pretty big clash here coming in the mid-game once Leta feels that he has enough. I don't think that, well, I don't know. Pure might be pushing right now.
Well, Pure should be waiting for his arbiters, but
yeah,
it looks like he might be moving out a little bit. He might just be trying to see what Leta has, but what he has is some tanks and some vultures. I don't think that's a good idea for Pure to go in there, but unfortunately, Pure knows that, like I mentioned earlier, if a Terran has 3 bases, it's not good news. Even with Pure on 4 bases, I mean, it's relatively even, but the problem is Pure success is completely dependent on keeping that 4th. Whereas Leta doesn't have to go out and get another base if he doesn't want to.
Right.
He can stick on these 3 bases for a really long time. But yeah, arbiters are going to be really critical play. You can see that line of tanks is what I was talking about earlier. You just extend out that line there, and oh, covert hops going down. Very interesting from Leta. We've seen Boxer use some ghosts and some nukes recently in some recent games.
Very
if you
impressive.
haven't seen those, go check those out. He actually well, he had decent success. So I don't think the nukes were totally game-breaking.
No.
But it was interesting to see those nukes. So maybe inspired Leta. Leta is one of these players that just does creative things all the time. Whether they work or not, he does a lot of creative plays. But I don't think I've ever seen him go nukes. I'm not actually sure what that ghost could be for. It could be for lockdown, too. If you wanted to lock down arbiters, that could be a pretty good defense. But it doesn't make much sense because you could just EMP the arbiters and you already have science vessels there. So, again, I don't know what the covert ops is for. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. But it looks like Leta is preparing himself. He's been scanning. He's been seeing those arbiters. So he's been preparing himself by building a ton of mines in his base. But it looks like Pure is going to try to just push in here. There's not a lot of vultures. Where are the vultures? Vultures are out of position, so those zealots are going to get into the tanks. Good stasis is here, but there are a lot of tanks. A lot of the dragoons are melting. Dragoons on one side are still making it, but the other dragoons have melted. There's the ghost. They're not doing anything. Oh, but these forces are melting because there's just so many tanks. So stasises were pretty good, but overall it looks like we're going to see an army trade. But actually, Pure does have a little bit more here, and he's going to be able to move in. Might be able to make this command center lift. So really good attack by Pure and just the superior army there with the arbiters. Again, like I said, he was waiting just for those arbiters. As soon as he got those stasis, that was the balance that he needed. And yeah, we have yet to see what Leta's going to do with that. Oh, but a big mine going off there. And unfortunately, Pure, I guess, is not able to make that lift. He instead chose to send part of his army up to the top right to take out some of those SCVs. These Dragoons going to kill probably one more tank, and that's about it. They're going to have to move back. In the meantime, though, a couple of Zealots are in there. So they might be able to get a couple of kills at that expansion, and in the meantime, again, Pure has been able to expand. So
Right.
Pure doing a good job of attacking and expanding, which is a classic move that you want to do in the game of StarCraft.
Yep, it's a very basic maneuver that, if done well, can lead you to many victories. Now, that was a very good attack that put Leta on his toes and was very strong. Took out almost all of Leta's army, save for 4 tanks. You mentioned Leta was very well prepared for the attack in his base. Now, the question is here is, did Pure see the covert ops, or did he decipher by seeing a random barracks in the secondary expansion? Hey, why is there a random barracks here? This is obviously built, or this is obviously doing something. There was a ghost already on the field. Did he see the ghost? Did it just get lost in the madness?
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter at this point. It doesn't even matter. But here's my question, though: is if there's a chance at nukes? You know, we may see something go in there because Leta is so well defended. I'm curious if Pure is going to try to get a recall in, or try to get in there to stop something like that. Again, you're right. When Boxer used the nukes, it was really cool just because Boxer used nukes. And all the fanboys go, yippee, when that happens. So it was cool, but I haven't seen a lot of games in StarCraft, period, where nukes were truly, really effective.
Well, it's just not practical. I mean, if you
Right.
think about it, Leta can take 2 dropships with a couple of tanks, and that's almost as effective as a nuke, basically.
Right.
And it looks like we have an Arbor coming in here. I don't know if it's going to recall. It's moving up to the 3rd base. I don't know why it went all the way across that other base, but it is going to recall. So that is going to stop Leta's 3rd base. I don't think that command center is going to go down. He hopefully can save it in time, but maybe not. Siege tanks can range those Dragoons, I think, from right over that edge. Oh, actually, no, they're too far back, so they can't get hit there. And the command center is going to go down, so that's a pretty big loss. That's $400 and the time wasted that Leta's going to spend. There's the siege tanks I was talking about that can range up that hill a little bit, but not all the way back where Pure's units were. Pure now coming in the back is going to be able to harass this other expansion too, so getting a double harass out of 1 recall, basically.
Wow.
So very good attack by Pure. Pure again has another base. Not a lot of probes there, but oh my gosh, he has taken over half the map now. He's expanded again, once again doing the classic move. It looks like the upgrades are pretty good for Leta, though. Leta with 1-2, 2 attack for his vultures, 1 armor, so that's pretty good. Another stasis here. That's more just so that Pure can save himself some time to get some units there. And oh, are these probes going to go down? No. So his units do get there. Pretty good stasis. So again, Pure playing very well, and he's going to have a very, very big economic advantage here in a second. So and still harassing. I can't believe that Leta has not killed these units yet. I guess he has out of scan. He's got that 1 scanner. There goes the scan now, and the siege tank can't range it?
He's hit. So the siege tank's shooting uphill because he's not uphill enough.
Okay, yeah.
So there's that missed chance.
So he missed it.
Getting cleaned up. So Leta, in other words, unable to take a base, able to do a little bit of harassing. Pure using the ridge behind the base, a lot like we see on Medusa used a lot to try to harass the main base. That was actually really, really good. I haven't really seen that much on Heartbreak Ridge. Just because usually it seems that players seem to defend that little mini choke that has the minerals pretty well. So that's one of the first times I've actually seen that, and that was an excellent play. I am really starting to fear for Leta here. His little covert ops is going to go unnoticed and uncared for at all because Pure is playing very well. Now, one of the key things I'm noticing is that Pure has a buttload of observers all over the place now, something he did not have the last game where he left. He only had a few at a time, and then he'd end up getting pwned by mines. So at this point, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases at this point, and 3, basically 2.5 at this point for Leta. So 6 bases for Pure. Leta's trying to come in, but look at how well Pure is playing. Storming both units there, getting all the tanks, and, I'm sorry, the vultures got picked up, but oh my gosh!
Wow.
A complete and utter rape-tacular with storms, just pure storms on vultures and tanks. You can see, why is Leta having to do this? Why is Leta having to spend so much effort? Because he doesn't have free reign with his vultures like he did the last game. There's